Hi, I'm Sandy Powell. Welcome to the Round Table. I'm here today again with my unofficial co-host, my husband, Prathan Powell, pastor of World Changes. And we wanted to talk today during this season, holiday season that is, of where this is the season where people find themselves in a moment of depression or anxiety. And we're going to talk about the realistic idea of that happening within the body of Christ, because we think we're untouchable in that area, but we are not. And so welcome to the show today.
Well, thank you for having me on the show with you as well.
So although this is the time of year that most people find joyous and they have a good time with the family and friends, for some, this is not that type of holiday. It's not joyous. Some of them don't even have families, and some feel as though they may not have a friend. And so therefore, this is not the best time of the year for them, but actually a downside for them.
Well, the reason why, because when you deal with this time of the year, you're dealing with people that are still going through the stage of grieving over a loved one that may have had died, a loved one that's in the end of life state, as well as a parent that has a child on drugs that is out of the network, or a child in prison, or an abuse relationship.
Can we categorize it then? Can we just start maybe talking with those who may have had a loss of a loved one, and this time of year for them, what that might mean for them?
Well, as a chaplain for hospice, this is a new part of my ministry that the Lord had brought me into. I've been now a chaplain for Kindred Hospice now for almost 4.5 years.
I know.
And time flies.
It is. It didn't seem like it's
recently I've been given an additional role is dealing with bereavement.
Right.
That's giving group meeting and individuals as themselves and talk about the reality they have lost a loved one, and then the reality those that are facing the transition of a loved one.
Right. And so this time of the year, I would think that, well, I don't have to think, because see, I also too have had loss. My baby sister, Dina, we lost her on Thanksgiving Day in 2005. And so 2005, Thanksgiving Day, she transitioned. And for a long time after 2005, it was difficult to have a good time at Thanksgiving. It wasn't the same. And I'm just getting back, and this is what, 2018, I'm just getting back into the mode, so to speak, of even looking forward to Thanksgiving. I used to just cook out of formality, you know, this is what I'm supposed to do, the kids got to eat, you know, that kind of thing. And so now I'm just feeling like, okay, I'd like to celebrate Thanksgiving Day. And so I think it has a lot to do with when Thanksgiving, I think of Thanksgiving, she's no longer here. That table spot or wherever is empty.
It's kind of like, it's the culture a lot of times, because in our culture, we don't normally deal with end of life or death the way our counterparts may deal with it, because it brings such a hardship. Because we've been taught that you don't go for counseling, you don't seek for help, you just be strong and hold it in. And you know, if a person dies, we told they, you know, they won't want you to cry. And I'm thinking, if I died, I hope that you're going to cry some. I know the check coming, but you need to cry some. But the truth of the matter is, you know, being a chaplain changed my operational ministry when I deal with patients. And normally I don't see them as patients, I see them as family.
Right.
And I stand that opportunity. Like right now, I'm dealing with a whole lot with this holiday season, because the caregivers are overwhelmed. The patient themselves or the family member is, you know, struggling with the reality that they may not see the next year. And some say, well, I probably won't be this Christmas, so I want to spend much time with my family as possible. So you have a real sadness at this time of the year.
Because there's an expectation of the end of life, and then looking to the future, knowing that, you know, which none of us really know when, but it's something about terminal illnesses that kind of bring that those ends in a more real way, right in your face, so to speak.
It's a reality because this is, believe it or not, statistics, our studies show that more people transition at the end of life around this time of the year. So now, this time this year, that family would be mourning their first anniversary of the loved one not being for Christmas, here for Thanksgiving. Then you got the, not Halloween, but the different holidays from Valentine's Day. So I have one patient that the parent actually transitioned on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So they'll be their first go around of that loved one not being here on Valentine's Day. So they already like got the guards up and they're trying to figure out what I need to do. I have another particular patient I'm addressing now. His wife died less than 30 days ago.
Wow.
And he's a basket case. I mean, he's just broken, you know, because
doesn't know what to do with himself at this time. And I think that with me, I think I avoided the thought like of being at home with the family because I mean, I'm the child that's away from most of the siblings. They were in South Carolina, and so I guess if there was any gathering at the Thanksgiving time, I didn't go. There was no, I was not in, I didn't make myself available to be at the family gathering. And I think that might have been my way of just dealing with her death. I just kind of pushed it away and just turned inward to, my family, my family, immediate family. And I think that for me, during the holidays, everyone is happy, people around you are laughing and talking with their family members, and somewhere in the back of your mind you are struggling with that person that is missing, or that hole somehow or another. You feel it always anyway, but it's something about the holidays that make it apparent. And you, having lost your mother, know what I'm talking about. That hole that you feel, it just seems to be a little bit more achy. Your heart seems to be a little bit more heavy, and I think sometimes you ask me, you go like, what's going on? And I'm like, there's nothing. It's a little melancholy in me at sometimes, and I just, most of the time, it's you the only one that really get it.
Well, a lot of time, this is what happens. We don't know how to grieve appropriately.
Right.
Again, it goes back to that, be strong, just, for someone else, for the family.
Right.
But every person has their own process. If you don't do the process, then you will delay the healing part. Now, I have to be honest, there is no magic pill to end grieving. There's no timeline to end grieving. You just got to go through the process. And each time, it gets better and better.
And it's different for each person.
It's different for each person. So when I do the bereavement, I don't group everybody in the same. I allow every person to come up with their own process and help them come up with tools and recognize the triggers. Naturally, this time of year, triggers go for them.
That's exactly.
It's called, this is the time of the year people, gathering together. It's family oriented. It's gifting, and celebrating. But to the person that has lost someone, it's not too much of a celebration.
And sometimes it's hard for people to see my position or your position in our grieving, because they feel like we have each other.
That's true.
But I can't replace Mama. And
because I have moments.
And you can't be my Dina.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
because like I said, I have moments myself. I can be driving my car. I do this 5 days a week as a chaplain. I'm spending time with people of end of life.
Right.
And I have one patient that I'm very fond of. I've been his chaplain now over a year, and he's very fond of me, knowing the reality that any given time, he may transition. So that's going to affect me.
Right.
Even though on the professional side, I try to keep it there, but you can't help but recognize, when you love someone, you had someone in your life, you only can imagine what it can be like not to have them there.
Right. And so I think that's the one thing, if I had to say to our listening audience, is, and if you probably could agree, it's that it's okay to mourn during this period, during this time. No, nothing's wrong with you. Because I think sometimes that is some of the anxiety, is that people feel like, and I'm talking about believers, feel as though, because we love the Lord and He saved our soul, that for some reason we don't have feelings anymore, and that we don't have grief, and that is something wrong with our faith if we grieve, if we have loss.
Well, the grieving go in so different facet, because a person can be actually battling with guilt, such as, maybe I should have did a little bit more. Maybe I could have spent more time with them.
Right.
Last year when my brother transitioned, I was going to skip going down to the facility to see him, but I'm glad I listened to the Holy Spirit and go back, and I went back. Within a couple hours from leaving there, he transitioned. Now imagine I had went on my schedule, I'm going to go see him tomorrow, then I would have been living that gift. So now, being a chaplain in hospital, all I can say, it's just giving me more understanding of the reality of the end of life. Because Christian, we're talking about we're going to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Right, and I don't think that I'm necessarily having an issue with the necessarily the dying part. I think I'm talking about the side of grief where we feel like we have to hide it because we're believers, because people will question us, where's your faith in God? And especially if we felt the person was a believer, well, they're in a better place. I'm not arguing that about my sister. I'm not arguing that she's not in a better place. I think what we don't allow people to do is miss their loved one.
Again,
and feel okay without it, without feeling guilty.
You have to allow people to have their process.
But we don't. And so I think that's what this show is about. This show is just to let believers, Christian believers, people of faith, know that it's okay during this time of the year to, to weep for your loved ones, to have this, time of reflecting. And in reflection, there's some sadness, regrets. I know I have regrets, for myself and my sister. I wish I had seen her more, wouldn't visit her more. I wish I had saw more of the signs, the writing on the wall, so to speak. But it's okay,
But even if you saw the writing on the wall, it would not change the reality where you are now.
No, it would not.
It just helped you to realize, I could have did something a little different. But
Right.
Really, there's nothing you can do different or better. It's just that.
Nothing that would have kept her here.
No, kept her here.
But I think that right before she passed away, she came to visit in May.
Remember that, yeah.
And she passed away in November. But she came and told me, she said in May, I'm just tired. I just need to come and rest. So I'm like, well, come. So she got in my bed when she got here, and that's what she did for the whole 5 days. She just stayed in the bed and rested. But I continued to go to work and still, about my regular day, and then just come home at night and have our time. But if I had known that was going to be our last visit like that, I might have took some leave time and just spent that time with her. And so it's stuff like that. It doesn't change her end of time or end of life, but that's the things I think believers need to know it's okay.
Well, with me, because I train people on how to grieve appropriately. One, it's okay to cry, because tears and crying releases the pressure and what you're feeling.
Right.
Find something to do differently. Go out, hang out with your friends that are doing positive things.
Right.
Sometimes you have to take yourself out of the situation, because the most difficult part about grieving is when you're by yourself. As long as you're around other people, you have a tendency to be okay, but even being with other people, you still have a flash moment where your heart become heavy again. It's just... And
your mind wanders.
Yes.
Because I'm with people sometimes, and my mind wanders. You ever talk to people and you see their mouths moving, but you haven't heard a word they said?
I try not to. Since
Well.
you recorded. No. But the truth
I do.
I had those moments.
I've had those moments, and most of the time I've had those moments is when I'm at a low place, like when I'm saddened when I'm I call it melancholy, because someone will say, well, why? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. I don't really know where it's coming from. I just feel a sense of sadness. I feel, like I'm just not necessarily on my high.
Well, that's when you, even myself, have to be willing to tell someone.
Right.
I'm just having a moment, think about my loved one.
Right.
Because the sensitivity of it is to want to create in the body of Christ, or even in general, how to be sensitive to a person that have had a loss of a loved one.
That's right.
I mean, it could be 10 years ago. I mean, I've had people that the person died 15 years ago, and they act as though that person died yesterday. And I'm sitting in the meeting, and I realize, okay, they have not had opportunity to grieve appropriately. Because someone cries at the passing of someone, but then that's a whole new process of going their life without it. I had a patient, they was married 65 years.
Wow.
And
that's a long time.
And he passed 2 weeks ago, and she called me today crying. She said, Chaplain, I feel like I'm gonna just jump off the house, And it broke my heart. because she was grieving, you know, because she
Right.
said it's gonna be Thanksgiving. He's not gonna be here, and then Christmas is gonna come.
I mean, imagine 65 years of having Thanksgiving, and then all of a sudden, no, you don't have Thanksgiving. And I think that this is why I think it's important during this time of year, is while we're having our good
Yeah,
time,
think about
is
others.
to at least consider that, and don't take for granted because a person is surrounded by other people, other loved ones. Those loved ones do not replace the loved one that's been lost, or that they've had the loss in. And so not to overlook being sensitive to them this time of year in our moments of good time. Now I do stretch and reach for my joyous moments because I am thankful
Yeah.
for my husband, of course, my children, and then my church family. Those things bring me great, great joy. But I'm talking about those little hidden moments of just reflecting and remembering and longing for her and my father.
And that's going to be an ongoing process.
Ongoing, for
It's
the
gonna
rest
be
of my
ongoing.
life,
For the rest
I
of your
think.
life.
Yes.
You know, but like I said, that'll be the season of your life when that happens that you may say, oh, man, I miss Tina. And then you'll laugh about something that y'all shared together.
Yeah.
And a reflection, then you'll move on.
Right, because she was about this big,
Yeah.
right? But
Feisty.
talk about, she'll bring the fire. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, we missed that little fire, you know, because she was like the one in the family, you know, when she talked to you. Now, she did give her life to the Lord, and she mellowed out quite a bit before she passed away.
You know, for that moment, you shifted from earlier sadness, talking about Dina, to a laughable moment.
Right.
That's
and I think
part
that's
of
what
appropriately
people
grieving.
need to allow people to do that,
Yeah.
and not be religious. I think that's what my thing is. Don't be religious and making a person feel as though they're faithless because they're having a moment about a loved one in during this time of season, and make them feel like they're not thankful. Yes, I'm thankful for everything that the Lord has done, but it doesn't erase my love and my longing to see my baby sister or my
Well,
dad.
it kind of go back
Yeah.
to the scripture. It says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge."
We do.
When you lack knowledge of reality of life
Right.
ending, life had ended, and you go with religious, you know, world, you're gonna miss out on
Right,
the true
and I think
nature,
we do.
understanding the value. I mean, even when Lazarus died, they said Jesus wept.
Right.
He could have called him alive right there. He felt the pain. This man died.
Right.
So what happens when your loved one dies?
Right.
How do we grieve appropriately? How do we help someone to go through the process and not make them feel worse than they feel?
Right.
Just say, hey, I understand. Really, it's not a matter of understanding.
It really
it's
isn't.
more like, you know, whatever
It's
I
just
can
kind of
do.
like grabbing my hand and just being there while I have a moment.
Yes.
You know, it's not trying to give me words
Or fix it.
give a person, we're trying to fix it. You know, it's not that. It's just a person that says, you know, I'm here. You know, and just that's it. You know, because there's really nothing else that person can really give you. Because even if both of us had the same loss, a mother, or a father, or a sibling, because both of us had sibling loss, it's not the same.
It's not. Because that's
Our
my
loss
family,
are
your
different,
family. Yeah.
you know, than each other. So I think that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on as far as during the holiday season, depression from the loss of a loved one. Then there's another category that I wanted to talk about, and that is depression and anxiety from us in our indulging, or should I say overindulging,
Yeah.
in trying to make the perfect holiday. Like if it doesn't come out picture perfect, you know, in our mind, I don't know about everybody else, but in my mind, I have a Christmas tree every year in my mind that I want my tree to look like. And it never looks like the tree that's in my head.
Okay.
Well, I thank God I don't get depressed about it. But, you know, in our minds, sometimes we create the holiday table, the way the house is supposed to look, the way the family's supposed to show up. In our minds, you know, we have the Walton thing going on in our head. The Walton family.
Yeah.
Everybody at the table, come by y'all, and then your family show up and they all fussing and fighting. Just blow your whole picture up.
Yeah. And that could be because of them not addressing their true feelings of what they're feeling.
No, but my thought is this, is that in our minds, we have a certain picture of how we want our holiday to be, and we get depressed or build up a lot of anxiety
Yes.
trying to have that
Perfect.
picture perfect holiday That's why we get all bent out of shape when the bread get burned, or something happens in the dinner and it doesn't burn up the rice and stick it down the disposal and stop the drain up. That's for you, Mom. But if all of those things happen, for some reason, we'll take that one thing that happened and make it ruin the entire event that we're having, because one thing didn't happen right. And I think that's another anxiety during the holidays. We're trying to have TV holidays, and it builds up anxiety or causes depression if we feel like we don't have enough money to buy everybody a gift, or to, decorate the way we...
And the sad thing, it's a repeated cycle.
It is.
Every year, you do the same thing over and over again, and you're expecting a different result. You're not going to get one. It's just, you have to come to a point, it's to accept the fact that as a believer, as a pastor, I have moments of depression. What is that? I feel bad. I feel bad for the holiday. I can buy what I want when I want, but buying it doesn't make it better. It's only it's only band-aiding the issue that need to be addressed by saying, you know what, it's just not a good day for me.
Right.
And be okay with that.
And then sometimes we can talk ourselves off the cliff, so to speak, and that's just a phrase, talk yourself off the cliff, by not putting the pressure on yourself of trying to have picture perfect holidays. Just go ahead and enjoy your family. If you invited 30 of them and 12 of them show up, enjoy that 12.
Isn't it amazing? It's only Christmas and Thanksgiving, Christmas, where we have this decline of a roller coaster of emotion. Because in the summer, you're looking for the summer, the spring, the fall. It's right when fall comes in. It's when people start shifting in their emotion because they're under pressure. The pressure's on now. What I'm going to buy.
We got people nervous right now because they don't know how they're going to come up with the money
to make Christmas.
Is that what they say in the South? Make Christmas.
Make Christmas. Yeah.
I never understood that. But how they're going to buy all of these toys and sweaters and all of these things that in the next week won't matter.
Because a lot of it's done to try to live a fantasy life in the gifting or other people's expression, their excitement, hoping they're going to make you feel better.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, you just got to do your own process.
Right.
And I keep sharing that over and over again. The process is the individual, but be willing to endure the process.
Right.
I had a parishioner of ours, unfortunately had a loved one, son, to have an early death. And she needs constant encouragement without judging. Right. Without saying, well, you should be passive by now. It's not about being passive, because we'll dive into something like, doing different things to kind of distract ourselves, but it's only temporary. You got to come to start dealing with the reality of it.
Right. So we're talking about the depressions and sadnesses that we don't really have a control over.
You don't have control over it.
And that's the death of a loved one, or sometimes it's just this time of the year, maybe loneliness. Maybe you feel as though
abandoned.
It could be divorce, and last year you all were a family and this year you're not. It could be that. It could be just maybe friendships that were there last year that this year they're not.
Which goes back to
relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends. Those things happen, and there's nothing really you can do about those things sometimes. And so you have to deal with the depression and the anxiety of being maybe alone, or not having someone that you can share the holiday with.
And the truth of the matter is, you're not going to always have someone to share the holidays with. The depression that comes is a subject matter that most times the church avoid. Because you speak about depression, you yield to the devil. Don't claim that. How can I not claim something that's really happening?
Right.
There are more suicides around this time of the year because people are suppressing what they're feeling, and no one is helping them to work out the dynamics.
Right. We call everything a spirit.
Everything's a spirit, yeah.
The spirit of depression. And the fact of the matter is that if I were to hit you on your leg,
it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt and cause a bruise. And you may limp.
So I got a limping spirit.
You got a limping spirit.
Okay.
It's no. And so there's things that have cause and effect. And so for us to feel like depression is a spirit, depression is a state of mind.
Yes.
That can happen in a person.
Even Jesus was depressed for for a moment in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Garden of Gethsemane. I don't. And the thing is we sometimes we try to lump everything under one umbrella, to say that that their enemy doesn't move in mental capacities. He does, but I'm saying in the sense of a person's with a sense of a loss or feeling anxiety, there is no spirit of depression. Is just that the person is a cause and effect. If this person had not died, this person would not feel this depression, and they wouldn't feel that lowliness.
You ever had a moment where you felt something wasn't right? Mm-hmm. And we call it intuition, or something subtle with me.
Right.
Well, the reality is just there are things actually happen around us that we don't have control over, and they're just going to happen.
Right.
Now, the favor that we have with the grace of God is that God will keep us when we can't keep ourselves.
Right.
Mental illness is a reality. It has nothing to do with the spirit. It's just a reality that people face.
Sometimes it's chemical imbalances,
or traumatization.
like trauma, PTSD.
But what we have to do is the church is be able to understand what people are going through and don't call everything a demon or a spirit, because it really is an insult. There's a difference between possession and a difference between oppression. And there's a difference between just needing help.
Right.
If a medicine can make you not act out, it cannot be a demon.
Right.
The demon don't need, he gonna work beyond the medicine.
Way beyond it.
Yeah, way beyond it.
Well, I'm glad you came to talk to me about it, and I appreciate your expertise that you bring from your job as a chaplain. And I want to say to our listening audience today, first, in the sense of depression, find you someone to talk with. Sometimes it's just releasing and getting it out, and just telling people a truth within you. You know, I miss my sister, I miss my dad, and my heart is aching right now. And just allow people to love on you at that time. Extend yourself a little bit there sometimes will help as well, to get out into the community, because sometimes when we can't fix what's going on in our life as far as loss of a loved one, pouring the love that we have for that loved one onto someone else helps release that and give us some place to push that love to. So I want to encourage everyone during this holiday season to look to the hill. Keep your eyes on the prize of Christ. Know that He is with you regardless of what your situation is, that He does love you. It is okay to cry. It is okay to miss your loved ones. Don't go out and overextend yourself in the gift-giving part. If you burn the bread, don't worry. It'll be fine. Just scrape it off like we used to do back in the day. Scrape it off and serve it up. Bless it and have an awesome time with your family. Until the next time, we'll see you here at the Round Table. Hi, on behalf of the Round Table
and World Changers Tabernacle,
we the Powers want to wish you a happy holiday
and a happy new year.
Whether you're a committed follower of Christ or just curious about God, you are invited to visit with us. Give us a call or check out our website for more information or to see our sermon times.